Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Mike Renick. We can't talk about Cape events without talking with Ken Murphy, founder of Cape Events. Ken, welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Very well, thanks.
So where did the Cape Events come from for you?
Well, it started a little over 20 years ago. I was in San Diego, California, just enjoying, as a fan, Comic-Con International.
Okay.
At the time, and probably still, the largest fan gathering in the world. And I stood there in an auditorium, a convention center of 50 to 100,000 people in the moment. And I thought, I'm bringing one of these to Cape Girardeau.
Yeah. So you were just out there visiting
Yep.
for that event?
Yeah.
Okay. And you've done that since then, right? You brought it here.
20 times, 20 years worth.
Wow. So what goes into taking it from a dream like that to now here we are 20 years later and you've done 20 of them?
You know, preparing for that first one at the Riverview room above Buckner's, that was just trial by error, a little bit leading blind. Call some promoters in the area or in the Midwest. They would give me a little bit of their time to talk about what it looked like to build an infrastructure and a foundation for these events. But the community was pretty receptive from the beginning, and it gave us a place to start. So again, you're looking at exhibitors, vendors, people in the industry of creativity, artists, writers, and you just build from there.
So 20 years going now, what do you do to keep it fresh? Are you jumping from kind of place to place and seeing what's out there? Or?
Exactly. So fandoms and things that become popular do change over decades, etc. You'll follow what's exciting in media, television, film, music, art. You continue to try to see what one of the things that we were able to do was the costuming. They coined a phrase a decade or more ago called cosplay. So when we would see young people and not young people come in dressed a certain way, it would show us kind of where the interests were going, which actually led us about 5 or 6 years ago into starting our second annual event, which is Cape Anime, coming up in April.
That's coming up in April.
It is.
So tell us about that.
So Cape Anime, again, it came from Cape Comic-Con, which we now call Cape Con. That was, a comic book. It was a hero-villain, art-driven event. So what we saw was the anime culture, the fandom, the young people were just coming and building that event more and more and more. So we decided that we would do just that. Cape Anime is a anime-centric event.
Okay.
Yeah, very exciting, very popular, not just amongst the young, but and very diverse culturally. So we were able to broaden it by narrowing it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So who do you like? Do you pull from St. Louis, and as far as people that you see coming to these shows?
We do.
Is it mainly this area, or do you kind of have a pretty good radius that you pull from?
So we're tremendously supported by our 60-mile radius, and very thankful. And that's been very consistent and growing. But yes, we do very well up into St. Louis. We'll draw some crowd from Kansas City and Chicago, some from Nashville. But so within a 120-mile radius, we book 100 hotel rooms approximately. Now that's counting vendors, exhibitors, guests, and fans.
Yeah.
Some come in for the weekend stay, which the idea is certainly to drive people to Cape Girardeau.
Absolutely.
We talk about what Cape has to offer, and we want them to see Cape while they're here.
And so this is in April, the Cape Anime?
5th and 6th at the Drury Conference Center.
Okay, Drury Conference Center. So we were just talking, with the Show Me Center about their outdoor show. And this may be a softball question, but how do you view this? How are your shows different? From a trade show or just a booth show that you may come across.
Great. So a fan convention, it's interactive. It layers. Yes, there will be a show floor with exhibitors, self-published authors, crafters, merchandise sellers, for sure. But we offer a weekend at both events, a weekend of programming. Now that's totally interactive, totally creative. That includes the very popular cosplay contests at both events. That includes a fun eating contest. We do things like screenings. We screen independent films, karaoke, a question and answer with all of our guests in the entertainment or art world, creative world. So that way, if you are aspiring, it's a great place to network. Get your questions answered. How do I become a voice actor? All of these things take place at our events. So we do full weekend programming, a podcast lounge. For those interested in podcasting, we have a full active podcast lounge, probably 8 different podcasts per day, 20 plus over the weekend. So this all goes on simultaneously throughout the weekend to include our celebrity guests.
And so, like you mentioned, the podcast lounge, is that folks that are just doing a show, or is it learning, training? Here's how, if you want to do a podcast,
so they are
here's how
live.
you do it.
They're live shows.
Okay.
But they're certainly there for that reason as well. Again, I think networking, that's an old term we used to use.
Sure.
I think anytime you want to get some questions answered about, would you look at my art portfolio? How do I get into podcasting? I love the idea of voice acting. All of these things happen at our events, from booth to booth, exhibitor to exhibitor, and in our programming.
Okay. You kind of mentioned this before. How do you decide who your guests are? You follow trends.
Sure. You want to know last year, for instance, great example. I had been following an independent horror film, and it gained popularity as the years went on. And I was just fortunate enough to book its lead actor the weekend after the movie dropped. So we get this big opening. It was here at Marcus Theater, and it did incredibly well nationwide. And we had the lead actor just a week after it opened. So you look and see what television shows are popular, what comic books are selling the most, which anime and manga are selling the most. What do people at the bigger shows around the country, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, San Diego, who are they drawing?
Sure.
Who are their guests?
Yeah. You got any surprises for? Have you revealed who's going to be a part of it this year?
We have revealed the first guest at Anime. Again, that's April 5th and 6th at the Drury Conference Center, and that's J. Michael Tatum, tremendous voice actor. We will joining him will probably be 4 to 5 other voice actors in the anime voice acting world. For our 20th anniversary coming up in November, that's November 7th, 8th, and 9th at the Show Me Center. Again, we are looking to put quite an event on to celebrate 20. No spoilers, no giveaways. Please keep an eye out for that. Potentially someone working in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's your hint.
There's the carrot. There's the hint.
That's about 200 actors.
We got about 20 seconds here. All right, so I know you got a website. Best way to stay in touch, stay engaged.
Sure, it's cape-events.com.
Okay.
And an active Facebook page, social media.
Okay.
Instagram. But please check it out. All the information's there. Or we're really good at responding to emails and questions on social media and at the website. Vendor information's there. Guest information drops go there. Programming is all laid out there.
All right.
Ticket information, etc.
Ken, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Best of luck to you.
Thanks.
And thank you for